Welcome everybody to Week 5 Fantasy Football Showdown. Back with the boys.
Let's
Here we
get
go.
it.
Week 5, fellas. What is up? Work
Both,
killing everybody?
as usual.
Yeah.
Trying to stay afloat.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
Trying to get a motherfucking
Just
scholarship.
be glad that shout out to everybody that's like out on the East Coast. Hope everybody that's any of our viewers that have been affected by that hurricane are doing okay. And I hope we maybe can bring a little bit of joy and entertainment into your life in a time that's pretty grim right now. So maybe hang out with us for an hour or so and maybe we can make your day a little better. So
Fortunate for me, I didn't get hit with anything but rain.
yeah, no, both of y'all got lucky. So
Dodged. I literally dodged me. I
Yeah,
think
just some broken branches.
I was about to say. I think Jacksonville got hit a little bit harder than I did.
it's how big it was. I mean, I saw it. I mean, it literally run the gut up that right up through Georgia, and it looked so much bigger than what it. I mean, how massive it was. So that was crazy. So, but shout out to everybody, and I hope everybody's doing good. So, but
Hanging in strong.
yeah, we are into week 5. Lots of crazy things have happened.
Yep, I haven't hit the millie yet, unfortunately.
None of us have. Or we? I don't know if we'd still be here. No, we would. We definitely would.
I'd definitely still be here.
We'd be sitting here with money bags everywhere, just to let everybody
I'll
know.
be sitting on the money instead.
People would know. There would be
There'd be signs.
Yes, definitely. So it's kind of just a little bit stuff that's going on this last week. I'm gonna start with the most relevant one, and I think this is like this makes me happy, and it should make Phil happy that Devontae Adams is actually looking at coming to the Saints.
Oh my God, I'd be so happy. Help
I mean,
Olave out there.
like it's literally they're on his list, and I think that I heard that the Chiefs have kind of bowed out.
That's shocking because they got fucking nobody. So
I mean, obviously you can see here Rashee Rice on the
he's gonna be out.
that's
Jason Mahomes taking him out, dude.
and I got thoughts about that,
Crazy.
but kind of Devontae, I mean, I think the teams have kind of narrowed it down to supposedly putting it out there to himself is the Saints and the Jets. Well, obviously he has ties to both of those quarterbacks in Derek Carr
dude. Like, had to bring it right back.
Derek Carr from college and the Raiders, and then Aaron Rodgers there with the Packers and Nathaniel Hackett. So it's not like he doesn't know that offense.
I don't think he wants to go to another shitty team. I don't see him going to the Jets. They literally looked atrocious against Denver the other day. So I think Brees Hall had like 3 yards rushing.
It's
Something along those lines. Fucking crazy.
Brees Hall supposed to be the number one, arguably could have been the number one running back in fantasy this season, and has been non-existent.
Yep.
And then obviously you can see Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh here. And Brad, you heard I know you heard being that they're arguing over taking the cadence out of Aaron Rodgers' game, and you can't do that. That's like taking the cape off of Superman or something, or taking Batman's utility belt away, right? Like that's a weapon in Aaron Rodgers' arsenal. Every time I see a free play, someone gets a penalty offsides, I'm like, throw the ball down the field, chuck it downfield, pulling Aaron Rodgers, like every time.
Yeah, I think for years you've seen that cadence help him and kind of give the team an advantage for all those years in the Packers. I guess it's sort of a thing that maybe only sort of works if you kind of have a built-in system with everyone on the same page. It just seems like for some reason it's kind of throwing off the players on this team, I guess. And that's what the coach is probably seeing. Not that it's not an effective tool, but it just seems to not be as effective in the Jets schemes. Sometimes it just doesn't work in every location. It doesn't sort of have that carryability. I kind of think about the Eagles even on there where they have that sort of tush push play that seems to only really work for them. It doesn't work for anyone else. Everyone else has tried it. It never works for them. But for them, for the Eagles, they have a lot higher success rate. And I think it just unfortunately that the success rate for the Jets and the Rodgers camp with the sort of cadence has not worked out to their advantage. And just also, I did hear though on the Devontae Adams situation that it is also a cap situation that has to be taken into consideration because of his cap salary number. So only certain teams can do that. I probably see here a team we're not thinking about. I know I heard the Steelers, but maybe it's sort of a dark horse situation that they end up pulling the trigger on that we're not necessarily thinking about. That would probably have the cap space, I guess, maybe even sort of like a Titans, one of those teams that have a lot of cap space, even though I guess it depends on
his cap number. His cap number is some astronomical, like 47 or something like that next season. Yep. As it sits right now, teams with like cap space that use that next season is teams like Patriots, Commanders, Cardinals, and then you see the Jets sitting there at 4 with 88. So that's kind of, and then the Raiders, obviously they get out from under that salary. So but I don't know. And then of course you got other trade guys right now that are looking in wake of the Rashee Rice injury, which I totally feel like, I don't know, I'm going to throw my tinfoil hat theory on here and everybody's going to be like, oh, you're an idiot for saying this. But did Patrick Mahomes do that on purpose? Did he throw a block? Did he try to make a tackle that he had no business making and he accidentally took his knee out, man? I don't know, man. That shit looked rigged. Like we talk about NFL is rigged. That damn shit looked rigged.
Highest owned wide receiver on the slate, taken out by his own quarterback.
I don't know. Not saying that it actually is, but that's just a funny thought I had, and it's probably a throwaway thought. But the Chiefs need somebody, which I heard that they're not going to go after anybody. They're kosher with what they are. What's up, Scorpio? What's up, Scorpio? Glad you're here, buddy.
We out here.
But yeah, so that's the craziest part to me is just they said that they're going to run with Xavier Worthy and Mecole Hardman and Justin Watson and bum-ass guy.
Man. Let them do what they're doing. I'd like to see Adams in black and gold myself.
I would love to see him in New Orleans.
Jersey off rip if he does.
Trade into black and silver for the black and gold, So let's.
I don't see him
the
going
Jags
to the
take
Jets.
him too. I mean, I won't lie. I mean, I doubt they're picking up the phone, but I mean, how nice would it be for Trevor Lawrence to have a true number one like Devontae?
Well, he would have he'd have zero. I mean, he has zero excuses now, but he would actually have -1 excuses if he got Devontae Adams, because literally Devontae Adams would be the tallest receiver he's ever had to throw to, so he couldn't really miss him if he throws it right. And Devontae Adams can jump and he's got hands, so no excuses for people can't catch. No excuses he can't throw him over his head, but I don't think that's ever happening. I just don't feel like the cons are picking up the phone. Just you can keep him, Mark, over there in Vegas. And then, I mean, Scorpio says he'd like to see him in a Cowboys uniform. I would puke. I would puke. But him and CeeDee Lamb.
With Brandon Cooks out there, that would be dangerous.
Brandon Cooks is actually out. He is he's going to be out maybe for a couple weeks because he had a scope done on his knee or something like that, and there was an infection built up in there, so he's going to be out.
Well, when he comes back, that trio would be fucking. If I was a corner, I'd be like, dude, you just got to cover like that area. I'll cover this area. And linemen, we need y'all help back here. Don't even blitz the quarterback. Come back here and help us.
Yeah. And speaking of linemen, I mean, another team I heard that was kind of in a receiver sweepstakes is the Bills. And here with Von Miller, he's suspended for violating team rules due to some domestic issues with his baby mama. His
pregnant dude's beating a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
That's
suppose
crazy.
something it happened for basically it was something last year.
He's
Stems
too
from a
big for
domestic
all that.
violence allegations brought by his girlfriend, who is also the mother of his 2 sons, back in November. So yeah, so he's going to be suspended for 4 games. And I heard a thing today is that there's it was NFL, like Bills fans last year wanted Von Miller to get suspended so that the Bills could find an out in his contract. Well, he's actually doing good this season, and now he's going to be suspended for 4 games. So be careful what you wish for. You just might get it, but at the wrong time.
And you're
And
paying for it.
yeah, and then this shit show here that is sorry, Brad. I mean, I know you're a Jags fan first, but you have a Philly bone in your body. This Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni issue that's going on is these two can't get on the same page, and Nick Sirianni won't let Kellen Moore actually call all the plays, and the Philadelphia Eagles are just terrible right now.
Yeah, it just seems like I think a lot of the Eagles fans are looking for that offensive scheme that basically took them to the Super Bowl. But the problem is that you have completely different offensive coordinators, and it's just hard to kind of replicate what a previous coordinator did as far as for calling plays. It's just an art form, basically, and just kind of calling it and working with against what you're seeing. And I just think if they can start winning, a lot of those sort of issues would be masked, would kind of go away. I think the fact that the team is losing, but you also got injuries. Of course, you can't necessarily call that, everyone has that, but having your number 1 receiver out, especially for a player like Hurts, I think definitely hurts him. Not having a big body go-to receiver that you can always kind of depend on, I think hurts his skill set a lot. And it seems like he's not as run friendly as he was previously. And it seems a lot of times when these guys get the bigger contracts, they kind of stop running a little bit. And I think it's because of the amount they're getting on that contract. You don't want to run and kind of hurt yourself doing that a little bit. But I think sometimes that hurts their overall game. And the ability to run forces the team into different schemes that opens up ability to pass the ball. But when you're not running, it takes away that element. They don't have to sort of worry about you anymore.
I mean, I always heard that people was going to mess around. He's going to mess around. Hurts is going to mess around and be a worse version of Russell Wilson after this is all said and done. If he doesn't run, if he doesn't do things that he normally
I think he's
does.
nurturing an injury that's unknown to the public, or Philly is scheming him at practice to not run. They don't want him to run and get injured. But you're right. Him not running has significantly impacted him as a fantasy player and
Yeah,
and a fucking NFL player for his team.
Yep.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, obviously Saquon Barkley's been the number 1 running back in fantasy, actually almost the number 1 player in fantasy was for the first 3 weeks. And last week he kind of fell off, and I got lucky and still squeaked by, even though he didn't do what he should have. But I would have thought it was going to skyrocket, but it didn't. So
Yeah, he was a good leverage play last week because not many people were on him, but I just couldn't. I had a couple of them, but I couldn't get a lot of him because of his price tag. So when I
yeah,
was optimizing, he kept falling out. But I'm glad that I couldn't get a lot of him because he did not perform well.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's a good segue into the Millie discussion for DraftKings. This is another one of those Millies that I don't think could have gotten to.
Gross.
I couldn't have got to this.
I couldn't have got the field. It's not against Indy.
I mean, that
once Hill scored that second touchdown, I was starting to kind of buzz in my head like whoever has that guy probably has a great chance of winning this. And sure enough, he shows up in the mini.
That was actually a good play because Kamara was nursing a rib injury. So I had thought about it. I was like, Kamara's nursing a rib injury. What if he just like gets injured or doesn't play much, or they scheme Taysom up? And sure enough, they scheme Taysom up. I mean, I don't know if I faded Alvin, but I definitely lowered his exposure because I knew he was nursing that injury. But The rest of this, man, I'm not picking any Pittsburgh players any week, man. That offense is atrocious to watch. I think I had Najee Harris in cash lineups, and it was atrocious to watch. Um, and Warren was out, and he still didn't do anything. I'm like,
Still didn't, unfortunately.
yeah, it's just one of those. I'm not playing Jags players. I'm not playing Pittsburgh players, so I couldn't have got to this.
The what's funny part is talking about Taysom Hill. I ran out and picked him up off the waiver wire and had him in my injured reserve spot for in our 14 man. And I was thinking about him as a tight end. I was like, I got Gesicki, so I'll just leave Taysom in the spot. This bastard comes out and scores twice, right? Well, this week I went in my work league, the Yahoo league, which Yahoo still has him as a tight end and a quarterback. So I could run him in a tight end spot, any of the flex spots, or a quarterback. I'm just like, and this is against the Chiefs coming up. So I'm like, he's going to have, for them to have any chance at that game, it's going to have to be a lot of involvement. And I'm like, is he even worth just me? Like, I'm 1-3 in that league right now. Because it just something falls apart. Like my team's falling apart. Anthony Richardson is just not doing shit for me. And Michael Pittman is terrible. So it's like, I was hoping that Joe Flacco going to come in and whip Michael Pittman 2 or 3 touchdowns, but obviously all the touchdowns went to Josh Downs and
backups favor backups, man. They help each other shine.
So
always.
Yeah. But I thought that we were going to get like a Amari Cooper with the Browns with Joe Flacco with Michael Pittman, but we did not. So, but back to this.
That was my stack for the Millie. I ran Caleb Williams with Amari Cooper.
Oh, you ran Caleb Williams?
Not Caleb Williams.
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, and I did run a Caleb Williams stack. But yeah, I ran Deshaun Watson in the Millie with Amari Cooper and Atkins because nobody was on fucking Atkins. So
I ran a CJ Stroud stack with a
but I ran a Caleb Williams too, and that shit was just atrocious. And I'm just like, if I ran Justin Fields, he would have just never did this. He would have did exactly what fucking Watson did, which was nothing.
So I did a little digging. So this is why I gave everybody this version of the Millie, so you could exactly see the actual scores between first, second, and third. Okay,
it's close.
This guy, yeah. So we talked about Washington and Arizona. So we knew we called that game. We called Cincinnati. We called the Chuba Hubbard play. We said Chuba's going to get out there and eat. You even said it would be sneaky for Tampa Bay and Philly to beat a game. Mike Evans is there. We talked about Minnesota and Green Bay. The game on here that we didn't really talk about was the Pittsburgh and Indianapolis game, and then the y'all's New Orleans and and because they just weren't that high scoring, right? And
it's a division rival. We didn't expect.
Yeah,
much.
And then of course Nico Collins has been the #1 receiver in fantasy.
And to be honest, I don't think that game would have played like that if Atlanta didn't score 2 defensive touchdowns. So they scored 2 defensive touchdowns, what made us air it out more and shit like that. So actually that game was playing on pace to be low scoring and not what it was. And then all of a sudden it's a blown up game because of defensive touchdowns. And they kicked a winning field goal in the last 10 seconds of the game. So there goes those prevent defenses for the win. And we fucking still commit a pass interference. It doesn't make any sense.
But so then, if you look at, I'll just tell you what second place was. Obviously, we can see that it's 2.5 point difference, right? Exactly 2.5 points. So they ran Fields, Connor. They had B-Rob Jr. in there. So there's another Washington, Arizona player. Nico still had Nico Collins, Jaden Reed, Christian Kirk, Dallas Goedert, Chuba Hubbard, and the Falcons defense. So instead of
Taysom Hill,
they went Goddard, and instead of George Pickens, they had Kirk. So they ran Justin Fields naked, like we always say. He was a guy that you could run naked if you were going to pull the trigger on him and pay up for somebody.
He don't need to be stacked. I guess in this case it worked, but he never needs to be stacked.
Yeah. And then, so I did a little digging on my own. This Stefan guy, the guy who won the Millie by himself, he had at least 7 lineups in here, and he locked Justin Fields in every one of them. So
That sounds like me. I locked fucking Will Levis on the 2-game slate, locked my man in 20 lineups, and he goes out with a shoulder injury and doesn't come back. Big old fat 0.50 points in the QB slot on 20 lineups. Somehow still cashed and came close to like the winning lineup, even though I had no quarterback. That's how close my lineup was to the winning lineup. Shaking my dreads.
yeah, it was
crazy.
I'm glad I didn't play in those.
I wish
was
I
watching those
didn't,
games.
dude. I was like, damn, this dude's the lowest owned quarterback. I'm looking at the fantasy value of all of them, and I'm like, it's all pretty much the same. I was like, any one of these quarterbacks can pop off. All the ownership's going to Geno and golf. I was like, fuck it, give me Levi. Dude is ass as another player I will never ever play again. Yeah, Jaceki too screwed me over on Sunday, man.
The hate. Oh yeah,
Trash.
this is a good one. Scorpio. Yes, Gesicki is. I mean, he goes from tons of targets, and now it's starting to dip.
And then right when we all stop playing, I'm gonna go right fucking back up.
The hellscape that is the tight end position in fantasy this season. If it's not
Last year it was every week you could count on Laporta. This
Yeah.
year he has shit. You're like spot on. Tight end this year has been like impossible to like lock on to like a solid play and it actually pay off.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, that's what's killing us right now is because of that. You know, the tight end position, because we've come to be accustomed over at least the last, would say, 3 to 5 seasons that the tight end position has been essentially, if you can get the right tight end, your team is killing it, right? And this year, you don't matter who you went at tight end, you're not making.
There were times
Making
last year
points.
where you needed a fucking tight end in your flex. You needed 2 tight ends to win the Millie. And this year, it's like we could actually do away with no tight end at all. Just get that out of here. It's probably why Taysom Hill's such a good spot because he's just an athlete. You're plugging in a universal one size fits all into that spot, and you can expect him to throw touchdowns, run touchdowns, and catch passes. So it's like a never a bad go-to.
I mean, the number 1 tight end. Can you guys guess who the number 1 tight end in fantasy football is right now? Want to take a guess?
Noah Fant.
Noah Fant?
That's my guess.
What about you, Brad? Number 1 tight end in fantasy football right now.
It ain't the people that we expect. It ain't Kelsey. It ain't Laporta.
Brad, I'm expecting you to know this.
These,
These.
if you're expecting Brad to know it, is it Jacksonville's tight end?
No, it's not. It's not, and it's not a Jacksonville tight end. Oh, it's Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is the number 1, 54 fantasy points PPR. So, and then George Kittle is second with 43. So, and George Kittle's only played 3 games. Dallas Goedert's played 4. So,
well, let's just say this: after that fucking guy won $117,000 picking the first 3 players to score a touchdown, I had to be the first score touchdown. I did it this fucking weekend, and I had Mike Evans, George Kittle, and James Conner. Mike Evans was the first score. James Conner was on the fucking 2, ran it, and they held him. In the very next play, they threw a touchdown instead of giving it to him. Tilted the fuck out of me. And then Kittle was the actual first offensive touchdown in that game, but there was a defensive touchdown before it, so it wouldn't have happened. But like talking about being that fucking close to 100K on my first time ever doing that shit was crazy. That's why I said that fucking pass to whatever in the Arizona game cost me like $3 or $4 grand because the early cash out option would have been, upwards of $4,000.
Oh yeah, he went to Marvin Harrison Jr. as the
Marvin
first
Harrison,
touchdown.
they handed it off to Connor on
Yeah.
1st and goal, and he didn't go nowhere. And I'm like, all right, they're gonna run it again on 2nd and goal. I got 2 more chances. Nope, they fake it and throw it to Marvin Harrison. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I would have cashed out. I would have took that quick 5K, whatever they wanted to give me, and kept it moving. It's that close, man.
Yeah, it's been fantasy's been rough this season. I know for sure. Like I don't think I make it through this week 5-0, just for the simple fact of the matter is I have no Saquon Barkley, I have no Devontae Smith, I have a lot of people went on by, no Jake Bates kicker. So I had to I'm running Chase Brown, Tony Gibson as fucking running backs this week because there's
Both
no one
backups.
else.
Well,
Yeah,
Chase Brown's he's pretty much like an even split at this point.
I mean, he did well last week, but I mean, no.
But if anything about this Millie Maker lineup tells you anything, it tells you get different. What we preach all the time in here. This dude played Justin fucking Fields, man.
And Taysom Hill.
Justin Fields in a low projected over-under, and the dude hasn't popped off like this yet, and gets him fucking 7 times his value. So it's 35 points on a 5K quarterback.
Yeah, and then we always talk about in like the whole conversation we've had going back 2 weeks, right? Let's go back 2 weeks ago.
Value. You need 4x value.
2 weeks ago, right? Let's
or
go back.
Somebody that gets more than 4x value to cover for somebody on your team. But essentially the average is 4x value from everybody on your team. So Justin Fields gets you fucking 7x. James Conner got you 3x. Chuba Hubbard got you 5x. Mike Evans got you 3x. Reed got you 5x. Pickens got you 4x. Taysom got you 5x essentially.
4. Left 3.5.
And Nico got you 9x.
I mean, Nico's value.
5x.
No, he didn't get his value is actually it's negative value because he's 72, so 36 is half. So that's the thing though, but he's chalk. He's that chalk you got to eat.
He got you 5x, dog. 7 times 5 is 35. He got 5x. The only person that didn't hit the value was Mike Evans and James Conner. But Justin Fields and Chuba and Nico, they all picked up extra value that went a long way. So there you go. Everybody in this lineup, 4 to 5x value for the win.
But what I was saying about Nico Collins is like we talked about it. We had that argument 2 weeks ago about Cam Akers, right? I'm gonna keep harping on that conversation until that I'm totally dead with it because Cam Akers is ass, by the way. I'm gonna say it one more time.
2 weeks in a row, baby.
He's ass. He's ass. Anybody watching it? Cam Akers is ass.
We called it. You heard it.
Scorpio,
here
you were here. Scorpio, you were here in this you were here when we had the argument. You saw it. He's ass. Okay. So
back-to-back weeks too.
But Nico Collins is chalk. But we said, we don't play. And people are saying you don't play chalk. No, we never said we don't play chalk.
You gotta find spots to eat it at. And I told that dude, you don't eat Cam Akers because he's high owned and he's not on a good paper matchup. Minnesota's defense against the run was solid. There's no point. Nico against Jax, that's a good ass matchup. You might have to eat the chalk there. And you do, and it pays off. I think I had 77% Nico this week.
I think
the majority was cash.
Quite a bit of it. I had quite a bit of him as well. So
I had Chuba, I had Connor. Like I said, I had a lot of this. I don't get the Pickens, I don't get the Fields, and I don't get the Reed. I'm just
I think the optimizer wanted to give a little bit of Fields to me, but I'm just like I ain't there. I'm not there yet. I'm not.
Yeah, nah. He did this same shit last year, I think. So the year before last year, he was solid as fuck. He was popping off. And then last year, I went to him heavy thinking he was going to come in hot. And he didn't do shit like the first 4 weeks. And then he started picking up for like 3 weeks, was hot. and then he fell back off again. So maybe he's about to do the same thing. Maybe I play him this weekend. I don't know. I haven't looked at the Sunday slate yet, but if he's playing and it's a good matchup, maybe I run to the well to see if he's back on that heater or not.
I mean, it could be. I feel like he's going to go. His value is going to go up. You know, like his like ownership projection is going to be a little higher. Probably people are going to creep into that, and that 8%. I mean, I feel like they have a decent game matchup this week, actually, in week 5. Yeah, he's gonna have to. It's on Sunday night, but he's gonna be
not on the main.
He's not on the main slate. But for people with for FanDuel, so yeah. FanDuel, keep that in mind. If you're playing FanDuel, he's gonna be up there ownership wise, because the run game has been eating Dallas's ass alive, and he's a running quarterback. That's what they're gonna have to do.
Oh yeah, man, you got to play the dual threat quarterback, especially on showdowns. I mean, Lamar Jackson's been proof that he's been an MVP on the showdown slates more times than not because he's a dual threat. So Justin Fields holds that captain value for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get into that Atlanta Tampa Bay matchup though. I can't, be happy about this one because I want both teams to lose.
Yes, so this is, you got in the division, you got 3-1 Tampa and 2-2 Atlanta, and you need actually.
We lost our last 2 games in the last minutes, both of them. We lost to Philly in the last minute and Atlanta in the last minute. We were 2-0, so I need both. I need this to be a tie. Y'all go ahead and finish this game 20-20.
Because Tampa has no division games right now. Y'all are 1-1 in division, and Atlanta's 1-0 in the division. So
yeah, but so I guess
it would be.
I'd rather see Atlanta win this because, like I said, they beat us with 2 defensive touchdowns and they scored in the last 30 seconds. I'd know that we would beat Atlanta again when we have to play them.
It was in Atlanta too, right?
Yeah, it was. So we'll play them in the dome. We'll beat them. We'll tie them.
Did you see the video of the fights that went on in that game? Did you see that?
No.
When you get a chance, go find that shit on YouTube. There was
man, they be fighting every fucking game. Lattimore and Mike Evans, literally.
No, these were fans, bro.
Oh, the fans.
These were fans fighting in. These were fans fighting in the nosebleeds. Like this one Atlanta fan was stomping on this Saints fan's head, dog. Like he was curb stomping old boy into the concrete. And I'm like, oh my God. And these people are fighting in the seats are like this. I'm like, all it takes is one person to fall over
and you're going downhill.
And y'all are gone. Y'all are crashing straight down in the nosebleeds, like someone's dead because y'all are falling off that deck.
I don't understand why people in the 400s is fighting. Like y'all in the 400s, man. What are y'all doing?
There he is. He's back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you, but we can't see you.
I can see him.
Oh, you can? I can't. Yeah. It's black. Can you see him, Scorpio?
Can you see Brad?
I'm here. Can you guys see me? Well, it's all right if you can't.
Cody says he can see you. I can't.
I can see him on the thing, but on the stream right now, I'm looking at the stream too. It doesn't look like it's there, but we'll fix it. It'll work.
We just brought up the Atlanta Buccaneers game. Talk about this Atlanta matchup. I guess Cody can lead us off with the injuries.
Yeah, so with that being said, Luke Gedke, the guard for Tampa, is out with a concussion. Khalija Kancey, again, the defensive tackle, one more week out with a calf injury. Jalen McMillan, he's a rookie wide receiver. I believe he's a rookie, out with a hamstring injury. Trey Palmer, the other wide receiver, out with a concussion. And then Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety, out with a foot injury. So, and then on, it's funny. This is for you, Phil. Troy Anderson, the linebacker that run the touchdown pick 6 back against y'all, is out with a knee injury. So
Such a lucky ass fluke play too.
1 week too short.
It's crazy.
yeah, it was it's weird. Augusto, we'll hit that question at the end. I promise. We'll get to you at the end. I promise.
When is Tua coming back for that question, dude?
For my fantasy team as soon as possible, please, because Devin Achane has done nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It hurts. It hurts. He hurts.
I kind of like your team, dude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give up any of them for Tyreek. I mean, that's just to answer it early, but we can get to it after this. But
yeah. So this my everybody that's been around here, I got my chalkboard here. These guys.
Them up.
These guys
I thought we don't do chalk.
We don't do chalk. We don't ever eat the chalk. Like you take them fucking Tums, you take those antacids, you eat that chalk. But you do it when it's good for you. You don't do it when it's bad.
We fucking tell you to do it. Don't do that shit when you think you
do not.
You are clearly wrong.
Cam Akers' ass.
Yeah, you don't eat Cam Akers chalk. You eat like Tyreek Hill chalk. Like
Scorpio says I'm a nerd, I guess. He's an ass. Yeah. But
the chalky chalk, Bijan.
Bijan, Drake London, Kirk Cousins, obviously, and the Bash brothers here, 13 and 14. So anybody else get Mighty Ducks like Bash brothers feel when you think of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, like the two best dudes on the team, and they're like
only ones that get the fucking ball.
Yeah. I mean,
I like that shit because it helps me fucking play fantasy. It's very rare that shit goes to anybody else. And if it does go to them, it's not significant enough to fuck me over.
No, even Jalen McMillan, I think they drafted him first round, the third receiver. I know I kind of called him out a couple of weeks earlier, but recently he's been sort of only a couple of targets. It's hard to really kind of favor him and say he's going to do good when it's only 2 or 3 targets. Everything else is going towards other receivers or Rashad White.
I don't know if you heard, Brad, because you were having the technical problems, but I said that McMillan and Trey Palmer both are going to be out. So
they got Sterling Shepard probably playing wide receiver 3, but
yeah.
What has my man done since like 8 years ago on the Giants?
I think he caught a pass, maybe a pass or 2 last week. Not saying that's worth it.
I remember him like vaguely being like wide receiver 1 on the Giants. I could be
wrong. At one point.
Like he fucking fell off.
He had a couple ACLs.
ACL. Yeah. 2 of them, right? Both of them.
Hear me complain,
I think so. Yeah, either 1 or 2.
He blew his knee out twice. So last week he had 5 targets, 3 receptions on 5 targets for 51 yards.
Well, shit, that's worthy enough.
8 points.
That is worthy enough for showdown. That's for sure. Yeah, 10% targets, 64% on the snaps he was on.
I'm just telling y'all right now, a guy to get off the chalk with, which he's still kind of chalk. He's about 32% owned. Is fucking Ray McLeod there for the Falcons.
I played him last week too.
But I mean,
98% snap count, 20% target share last week.
And he returns kicks too. I'm pretty sure he still does that. If you can double as a wide receiver and a kick returner, man. I know there's some leagues out there. I've heard that it's like the Steve Fish 14 league or whatever that is. It's a league that there's a lot of fantasy players in that they do actual return yards for points. That would be so dope. Like
You get that on DraftKings. It goes to special. It goes to defense.
Yeah, but I'm saying like player wise. So like if you
Oh,
had Ray McLeod,
you
if
get
had
it both on DraftKings.
yeah, but what I'm saying like not for like as a player, like
Yeah,
if he gets
he has to get the touchdown though. So he'll
no,
get the
I'm saying
6 points.
no, I'm
He doesn't
saying
get the
like
yards.
no, I'm saying like there's fantasy leagues out there where you draft Ray McLeod and he gets points per return yards.
Yeah, he gets those yards. On DraftKings, you don't get that. You just get
Yeah.
the points if he scores, and the defense gets the
Yeah.
points if he
Oh yeah,
scores.
If he scores, yeah.
So it's
But
like that's good to tell the people now, knowing that he runs punt returns. That if you're gonna play Ray McLeod, maybe if you're running an optimizer, set a rule that if Ray McLeod is gonna be in, that also Atlanta's defense is gonna be in. Because if he runs one back,
you
get double
dip.
points, double the points, cake up.
Yeah. That's a good thought. I mean, and then I like obviously Cade Otton here, but I feel like his ownership's gonna be higher. But I feel like
I like Cade Otton.
I always feel like Cade Otton when we've seen in the past during games where it's showdown and Minnesota's involved. I mean, not Minnesota, excuse me, Tampa Bay. That he's been a guy that gets touchdowns. Like he's like the Noah Gray type shit that happens in Kansas City when we think it's gonna go to Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill when he was there, it would go to freaking Noah Gray. But now it's like, oh, we load up on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield, or even Tom Brady when Tom Brady was there, throw the shit to Cade Otton.
He was hitting Cade Otton, yeah.
Yeah, he
or
was. He loved
remember Cole Keeft?
Cade Otton's only 3% owned in the captain slot too. Keep that in mind. That
he had 9 targets last week, 6 receptions on 9 targets for 52 yards.
2 of those targets be touchdowns. Break the slate and you win.
8 targets a week before. So he's steadily on a climb on how many targets that Baker Mayfield's looking for him. And then I think that offense is kind of scheming towards getting him more involved because the kid can catch when he's
to be honest, Rachaad White is fucking 3% owned as well in the captain spot, and that is my friend's probably 100% where I'm going tomorrow.
What do you think? Is Atlanta's defense that good against the rush? Or I wonder why that percentage is so low. Just because of so many times that we've seen Rachaad White,
Bucky Irving,
really slate.
Bucky Irving is the reason.
That's right. I forgot about
Bucky. The run, but
he had 10 attempts last week.
That's
okay,
Rachaad
White did. And then had 10 attempts, and he had
yeah, but Bucky only had 4%. So that's targets I'm looking at. They were dead on rush attempts. Bucky and Rachaad White.
Both of them had 10 attempts for 10 attempts for 49 yards. Bucky Irving did, and they both went 10 for 49. That's even more weird.
What's the exposure on Bucky Irving?
Probably around the fucking same. Let's see.
Yeah,
is it like
about
one
4 points off because they're only $400 difference.
They're both 3% owned. It's just a decimal percent afterwards that they're separated by. So that's the captain spot. I mean, in the flex, given those numbers, it seems like Tampa Bay is acting like Baltimore and giving an equal backfield count to both of these people, and then it'll be hard to pick the running back. Flex wise, I get exposure to them equally, and then the captain, if you want to take a shot, I think it's Rachaad White still.
I just for the simple fact of the matter is Rachaad White still is more involved in the passing game.
That's why.
Than Bucky Irving is. But I've been standing pat. I went 3 weeks in a row on the waiver wire pickups for Bucky Irving. And so he's just been that guy that's kind of sticking in there and steadily growing on people. And he's owned a lot of leagues right now. So I think that's a good spot. But don't count. I think this one don't count out kickers in this game, though.
No, I agree with that.
Young Wei Koo is the man. especially when it's in Atlanta.
He has been. He just won them the fucking game. Actually, his field goal he made to win the game was his longest kick ever, I think they said. It's like 57 yards or something. It's his longest field goal. And I was like, oh, nice, man.
He had 18 points against y'all. He was four field goals on 4 attempts, 58 yards.
They scored twice defensively, and then the rest were field goals. Like, I think we destroyed. I think we mopped him in the dome.
I mean, Koo is
If they play like that against Tampa, they're gonna lose. I don't know what the spread is. I haven't looked, but you're gonna have to score to keep up with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is gonna score. They're gonna move the ball.
A half a point. Oh no, 1.5. 1.5 to Atlanta.
Atlanta's favored or underdogs?
They're favored. Atlanta 22.
Yeah. I lose my
like
house
Tampa
tomorrow.
Bay. I like Tampa Bay tomorrow.
Same. I lose my house there, man. Like, you can't tell me Atlanta is gonna win this.
According to ESPN bet, it's 43.5, and then according to MGM, it's 44. But it's still 1.5 to Atlanta, minus 1.5. What's up, Brad?
I was gonna say, is it? I was wondering, is it at Atlanta?
Yeah. It's in Atlanta.
Okay, that's probably why. Okay, that's
Atlanta.
what they're giving them. That's what I was wondering, if that might be also the reason why they were giving them that lean on the points total. But again, I really like Tampa Bay here tomorrow. I just think those two receivers, plus you're getting out of the tight end, just all the weapons that they seem to have, and just Baker just seeming to really kind of find their stride. I just think that they're going to be dangerous this year.
I agree.
Those two veteran receivers as well, just knowing where to find those gaps in the defense, that's just critical nowadays. You could really see that. I think they were saying that these both Darnold and Baker Mayfield both used to play for Carolina Panthers, and now look where they're at. And it's just funny how you move a system and then you're leading in the passing yards in a new system that they said you were washed and, a bum, and now you're leading in the NFL passing yards. So
he's got 900. Baker's got 984 yards total. So he's 200. So he's basically 200 off of Geno. Geno is leading with 1,182. So 200 yards. That's it. 200 yards separate first from sixth.
I know another person you should focus on tomorrow is London. My man is on the field 99% of the time. That is
but they both
astronomical, man.
Agreed. He's due for one of those games.
Yeah. He don't come off the field.
Yeah. He hit I remember talking about him making a couple of the lineups even last year. He just blew the slate up, and we kind of expected that to kind of start a little bit earlier with the Kirk Cousins show, but I think they just got to get the chemistry right.
And Drake London's huge. He's huge. He's a big body like Mike Evans.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, captain. He's only 12% owned. That's he's second. Never mind. Second highest owned captain right now, but it's like neck and neck with Godwin. So, and these are a little skewed, and they'll change definitely as tomorrow comes if people start optimizing lineups. But just consider he's going to be one of the higher owned captains if you run him.
He had 12 targets last week against Lattimore. I'm just saying. 12 targets against New Orleans.
99% of the time. I mean, that means he's got to get the fucking ball if he's open.
No shade to my boy's nephew, Zion McCollum, but he ain't no damn Marshawn Lattimore. I'm going right at whatever corner lineup's against me if he went 12 targets against the Saints. So you got to, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a nice spot to target tomorrow. I think what it's going to come down to is one of these backup running backs. Looking at like the rush attempts of both, like we already talked about Rashad White and Bucky Irvin being about equal, but last week Algier surpassed Bijan on the rush attempts, but Bijan had him on the target percent. So again, you have another backfield that's being split. What's going to happen? I don't know. I think you just need exposure to both. or you just need to pick one and roll with it. But I don't think that it's impossible for the winning lineup to have 2 running backs from the same team in the optimal lineup.
This is the thing. Keep this in mind, though. That Liam Cohen offense that they run in Tampa, okay, was in Los Angeles with the Rams when Raheem Morris, who is the defensive coordinator and head coach, or calls defensive plays and is the head coach for Atlanta, okay? So he's going to know that offensive scheme. So on a total blowing everything up, this could be that game we expect to score high and it's slow as shit because the defense on one side
They know it.
knows
the
the offense where they were coaches together on the same team.
It could be a field goal game. Like I said earlier, I liked your call on the field goal kickers.
Yeah, I agree.
That could be a very one of those lineups that people like to run sometimes is double defense, double running back, double kicker, and it wins.
I mean,
so one running back from each team, one kicker from each team, and one defense, or obviously a defense from each team. And you just got to get the captain right. But sometimes that is a winning lineup.
This could be. I mean, and the damn safeties that they got there in Atlanta, Jesse Bates and what's his name? Who they brought? Justin Simmons. They brought over from Denver. Both Pro Bowl caliber guys, and they look good. They look good.
I think if you're handcrafting lineups or even optimizing lineups, you should try to simulate the way that this game could play out. And in some cases, it could be very slow, kicker defense oriented, make your lineups like that. Other cases, it could be high scoring, fast paced, and draft your lineups like that. So you don't want every lineup to be filled with like Baker and Cousins, and Evans and Godwin all in one lineup, or stacking all these high scoring players. You want to have like backup running back or starting running back with defenses and kickers in your lineup for the more slow paced game.
I think if you're and this is like a season long thing, if you have any of these 6 guys on this team on this screen right here, you should be playing them tomorrow. There's no question. If you have to ask yourself that question, you don't need to be playing fantasy football. These guys are going to eat.
Yeah, season long, ignore a lot of the shit we're saying about not starting people. You got London and Mike Evans and Godwin, you run them.
And I mean, I'm also in deeper league, especially not afraid to might even just pluck old Bucky Irvin's ass out there too. Like if you in deep, like there's 14-man league that we're in, especially with all these problems with all the dead running backs and dead players that are out here. Too soon, I guess, for me to be saying that. But all the players that are just basically just not there right now, and then bye weeks are about to start. These guys, you got to get in your lineups. You got to. And I feel like these 2 offenses, this could be a blowout, knockdown, drag out, or it could be just nasty and slow and plodding, but it's going to lend to your running backs. So,
do we have the weather for this?
You guys,
it's in Atlanta.
It's in a dome. It's in a dome, so it don't matter.
Dome, okay.
Yeah, so it don't matter. They won't have it open. They won't have the portal to the heavens open. That if you look it looks like a portal when you look up. But yeah, I think that
covers that.
Yeah.
So we got
Augusto question. So Augusto, my running backs are Brees, AK, Ford, Dobbins, and Hunt. My wide receivers are London, Neighbors, Godwin, Pittman, DJ, and Bowers. Would you do London, Deontay, or Godwin for Reek?
I'm assuming this is PPR.
I'm shipping Deontay. I mean, just like, what have you got to lose? Out of those, if you can get rid of Deontay Johnson and keep London and Godwin for Reek straight up.
I mean, that's why if it's PPR though, I like Deontay. My man's the only one getting the ball, and Thielen is out.
Yeah.
Godwin shares with Evans. They don't both pop off at the same time. So I think Godwin's better than Deontay. London, we just talked about being on the field 99% of the time this whole season. So that's tough to say that you would give that up. I guess give up Pittman.
Oh yeah. I didn't even see that. Get rid of Pittman. I glossed totally over that. Pittman is where
I
you need
did
to go.
too. Give up Pittman. Keep everybody else. I know
Because
he
you're
doesn't
gonna
want
need
full Tyreek, so I know that's not possible. But
because if he's saying you got to do London, Deontay, or Godwin for him, I would give up Johnson just because Godwin and London are gonna see more, and you could plug and you got Neighbors, who is the number one. He's the number one fantasy receiver right now, point total, I believe, in PPR. I'll tell you to be exact. It's
He's
Malik
got a lot of
Neighbors.
good receivers here.
I
Kind of
wouldn't.
running
Yeah, I
back.
know. I like that lineup. I wouldn't rush to Tyreek though until Tua is back.
That's the only thing.
That's why I said earlier. I like your lineup,
Okay.
dude. Like I would just keep it.
Yeah. I mean,
What's
you
up, Addy?
definitely see a lot of targets.
What's
there.
up, bro? Yeah, so
It's
Neighbors
tough.
is number one. Neighbors is the number one here. Okay, number one receiver. You got London is the number 23. Godwin is the number 5. Pittman's ass way down here.
Yeah,
Pittman
dude,
is number 50.
I would get rid of Pittman, dude. If he's willing to take that.
Deontay Johnson,
Pittman's-
number 17. So I'd get rid of Pittman if I could.
I don't know. I mean, Pittman versus this Jaguars secondary this week. That's a friendly matchup with a Flacco more veteran quarterback where the ball's going to be more 1, 2, 3 out. Watch out for him. I'm not saying for a bunch of the games, but in the future, he actually might be a considerable running back, receiver, especially running in deeper leagues. Just watch out for him. I just think he's going to have some more friendlier matchups.
I mean, the Pittman plays, I think, probably where you should go. And if you could, I don't know. That's really it. That's really all I could think of for. I mean, if you got to get rid of a wide receiver, it's really up to you. I don't think you need him, but if you really, really, really are infatuated with getting Tyreek Hill and what it could be, the could be is what would curiosity, but you know what that did to the cat. So
This is me assuming this is PPR too.
I assume. Well, yeah, I would say 99% of every question we're gonna get from now on is gonna be PPR, unless someone says otherwise. But he only wants one.
If he would take Ford, dude, I would do that too. But I don't think that's something he's willing to trade for.
I just offer him Pittman and just leave it at that because I don't think he's already the 50th.
If he wants to, I think you could do Pittman and Ford.
Just Pittman in general, like his targets are just not there, like 29.
Dude, somebody in our chat last week was non-PPR. I remember it. That was weird.
I mean, I'm in a half PPR league just because these nerdy people I work with in NASA, that's what they picked. And I was like, what?
FanDuel's half PPR. So.
And then Alex, a boy that one of our boys that's in our other league, he's in a league that's 8-man and it's a non-PPR standard league. I left that shit back in the dust a couple years ago, so I'm out of there. But yeah, I don't know. It's disgusting. Anything other than PPR is disgusting. Yeah, of course it is. Anything's better than straight up standard where you're just looking for touchdowns.
Yeah, you're just guessing at this point because we already watch how teams fucking give the ball to like their third string running back when they're on their goal line. And like, yeah, go fuck somebody's lineup up. It's literally what they do.
Very much.
It's disgusting. I mean, it just disgusts me because I don't even know like where to go. It's so hard to pick guys who are going to get touchdowns now. Like kind of DFS, swinging it back to DFS, like FanDuel right now, like how we had that big argument about, you don't know shit about FanDuel. We never did say we didn't know shit about FanDuel. We just don't play it because we don't like the scoring.
I don't like half PPR.
I don't like half
I
PPR.
play that shit with the free money that I win
Yes,
from fucking
FanDuel face off.
face off. Yep. By the way, they added a new game, and I've been crushing people on there. Oh my god, it's crazy.
The which one? The
You get
drop,
it's like a
the
bubble pop thing.
like the bust a move game. Yeah, like from back in like PlayStation 1. Yeah, I remember. I saw that.
Drop the ball and knock out the 3 colors in a row.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god, there's a strategy to that shit, and you essentially got to get your board down to 2 colors and just don't end it. If you end the game early, your score is gonna stay low. You just got to keep getting combos on this 2-game board. Literally, it's just free money. I'm getting like 200,000 scores, and my opponents are getting 10K. And I'm like, they haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured out to leave the 2 colors alone. Because when it goes on to 1 color, it clears the board and the game's over. People don't know that. They think that they're clearing faster is better. It's not. Man, I could do a fucking podcast on Face Off, FanDuel Face Off, and make people money on there.
We got 38 people watching us right now. I know you guys got questions. Hit us with questions if you got them. We'll sit here and hang out with you for a few more minutes till if y'all got questions. I mean, by the way, we're probably gonna redo the giveaway that we did a couple weeks ago because our people that I gave that won the giveaway decided to redonate the gifts back to the giving. So we will be able to do that again. But this time you got to be present. You got to tell us that you're here.
Do the same thing you did last time. Ask a question in the fucking chat, and the first person that answers it wins.
Because that's what we're gonna do. We'll ask a question. You got to be present, and we'll
be
go
random.
From there. Yeah,
could be is a question such as how many rushing yards did Alvin Kamara have last week? Whoever's quicker to the punch might get it.
Yeah, because we got the stuff, and I was told give it away. So that's what we're gonna do. So, but yeah, how are people's fantasy teams doing? We don't even are people 4-0? Are we 1-1, 1-3, 2-2? Like,
well, waiting on that, let's just note that the Chiefs are 4-0 right now.
And the Vikings are 4-0.
It's crazy. Vikings at least have earned it, in my opinion. Like, they are playing good. The Chiefs look like shit, or Pat Mahomes looks like shit. Let's be real. My man has thrown interceptions every game that he's played this year. He's not looking good.
Well, I think you're also just seeing too the sort of investments in their defense starting to really pay off dividends for them. Plus, if going from last year even into this year, that's the only way you get the 4-0 really, by having a defense that at least makes enough stops to really keep the game close enough for Pat Mahomes to bring that magic in the fourth quarter like he always seems to do and make just enough plays. So, again, this is what championship teams are. They're sometimes not going to beat you 50-0 every single time. Sometimes it's going to be ugly, but that's the difference between good and great teams. They get those ugly wins, whereas just a good team, you'll see a lot of losses here and there.
Who's your number one buy low guy right now?
Is that for season long?
Yeah, but this is a question that easily could be answered in a DFS purpose, kind of fashion as a way. Who is a guy that's underachieving that you could go out and try to trade for and hope that he's going to go up from here?
Pittman. We just told the fucking trade off. He could start. Good call. He could start going back off, and he's somebody you could probably get for cheap right now because he's not doing shit.
I think somebody that you could buy low on right now because he's underachieving is someone like a CeeDee Lamb. He's only got 32 targets, man. He's 20 off pace for first. Okay.
People get addicted to people like him, no, man. It's like Tyreek Hill. My man is not doing nothing right now because of the backup quarterback, but ain't nobody gonna get rid of him. They're just not going to. They're not going to.
And then I just think that's one of those guys that you could look towards, or even maybe like one of the two wide receivers there in San Francisco, maybe a Brandon Ayuk or a Deebo Samuel, because they're underachieving
a lot. If Puka's coming back before Cup, I think is somebody you could get cheap too.
Somebody
like
that's
T.
the overselling right now be Wandale Robinson.
I like T. Higgins here. Um, he's still kind of working himself way back into the fold. He's had big games in the past. The target share is just only going to keep going up as time goes on. Burrow's starting to catch a little bit more kind of consistency as far as his play, but kind of needed more for the team to get the W's. I would say that's sort of a guy I'm kind of looking at. Even I was looking at Franklin for Denver Broncos, just knowing the relationship that he has with Bo Nix. And just going back to those Oregon years, the receiver there, Combo, I think he was the first round pick there. I think they're going to continue to keep working him into the mold. I think he had 4 or 5 targets the last 2 or 3 weeks. I expect that to go up just because they're going to constantly be tight battles, windows where you have a lot of close games, so it just gives more opportunities for target shares.
That's a
I
good
like-
one. That's a good one, Addicts, because
I
mean
agree with that.
he's like 7th. He only has like 70 attempts. So I think it's another 20 off of pace of first. I mean, that's Jordan Mason who's first, you know. I like that. And then if you're looking also maybe if you could get a Bijan Robinson, because we thought he was going to be a number 1, and he's like only had 55 attempts, and his yardage is sub 250. I like that too.
Yeah, I like the Josh Jacobs play as well.
Jacobs has hurt me a couple of times this year in the fantasy, but I'm hoping for my team's sake that he can start to turn it around a little bit from a fantasy perspective. He's getting touches. It's just not necessarily working as far as for translating into a lot of performance.
Just trying to buy. I mean, people just trying to get them whatever they can. You know, these guys are
trying to look at other positions too. Zach Ertz might be one. The way
I would say
the way Jalen Daniels is balling out, there might be some potential for him to get in there. And right now he hasn't been, so he might be somebody that you could get cheap.
I mean, it's going back to Scorpio's comment earlier. Shane Daniels better than every quarterback in the league right now.
He has, man. That's crazy because I feel like the Commanders / Redskins have had the worst luck with QBs over the last 10 years.
That's that Kingsbury influence.
100%.
He's a quarterback guru, man. You know, sometimes he's gotten it a little wrong, but I think he's starting to learn from the mistakes of what he did in Arizona and starting to really apply that and be more effective in the run game, which opens up the pass more in the NFL. You have to be able to establish that run game. I think he's getting that more consistent from Brian Robinson, which opens up the whole scheme. And I'm really liking what I see out of Jalen Daniels. I really wasn't 100% sure, but he's really showing me something. I'm a little surprised at his development so fast.
Carry me to a championship, Jaden Daniels. Carry me to a championship.
Yeah, he's popping. I'll give him that.
Addy says if an 0-4 team and a 1-3 team has AJ Brown, because he's been hurt, man. Yes. It's because of you.
They want him back. They want him back bad.
But I've seen so many people wanting to try to flip him right now, asking questions like, "Oh, should we trade for AJ Brown?" And I'm like, if he's the same guy that was getting 10 to 12 targets,
yes,
just what you hope for. And right now, the damn Eagles need anybody they can throw the fucking ball to. Like
you
literally
almost like
anybody.
the fact that they're not doing anything, because then you know when AJ Brown comes back, they're gonna force feed him the ball because they have to move the ball. So that's even better prospects.
I mean, if he's got legs that don't even work, his hands work. Just throw him the ball, because Jalen Hurts, obviously, we've shown him and Nick Sirianni both show that they're not what they need to be without top end wide receivers and great coordinators. And I feel like Kellen Moore is going to be like, if Nick Sirianni would just get his damn hands out the pot and let Kellen Moore call the plays. Once AJ comes back, Smitty is good. He should be feeding those guys. Like, you know, Jalen.
Another person that might be good is Devontae Adams. You were just talking about him going up for trade. if this dude trades out to
Mhm.
another team, and like right now he's not doing shit. You could trade low for him and be super successful if he moves.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a good one too.
That is a good one.
That's a good one. I mean, I'm pleased with that. Yeah, but I mean, and don't 47 people watching us. So if y'all got any more questions, man, just let us know because we will.
Appreciate
I
the
know
love.
Addicts sitting here
For sure.
hitting us with all the thoughts. We appreciate that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good one to talk about, especially for
Thank
season
you.
long, because that's what a lot of people tune in for. So DFS, I grab any cheap player I want when I want. Ain't gotta worry about it. That's why I prefer this more now.
And there's something I want. I want somebody to see if they can do this and find this for us coming next week. Anybody that plays FanDuel, because I can't seem to find the shit. Because I don't play the Millie in FanDuel, right? We talked about this. I want someone to find me mission. Find me the FanDuel Millie winner next week. That's what I want to find out because I'm not going to play it myself. I'm not putting money in that
I
shit
think
because
you can get it from Roto Grinders
I thought
after it happens.
I tried to look for it and I couldn't find it, but that's probably on there. But if someone else can find it, it's easy to find. I want to see it because I want to see how much difference it is. Just for the simple fact of the matter is like
Yeah, I think
how
it's gonna be pretty significant.
just like a disaster area. Yeah, I'm sure, but I just want to know because I was
I
looking
think
for
it
it.
probably had Fields in it, that's for sure. But I doubt it had Pickens.
Oh, probably not. Let's see if we can find it. I'm just looking
Definitely probably had Chuba.
starting
Chuba.
expert rankings, DFS alerts. Let's see. Odds. Was in their results database, maybe.
I don't really know how broad this question is, but I play DraftKings. I play $100 single entry every week. I mass enter the $3 every week, and I kind of try to back all of those entries up with double ups and head-to-head plays. So if I'm 160 across the board on GPP, then I'll try to get about 160 across the board on double ups and head to heads. It's kind of tough sometimes because I personally like to play double ups and head to heads below $5 because the pros can't play in them, so I get a shark advantage. And then they're not giving too many $5 double ups anymore unless they're mass entry, and I don't like those ones. I like the single entry double ups, and I just fill it with cash. Literally, all the chalk players across the board that I like, I'll hand make my cash lineup. I don't use optimizers for my cash. I don't ever like them, but that's essentially my goal each week. At least make my money back if I completely miss in GPP, because I do dumb shit in GPP. I just told them earlier I fucking put Deshaun Watson as my captain last week and Caleb Williams in shit. This 2-game slate on Monday, I 20 maxed a tournament and I locked Levi, whatever his name is, in all 20 lineups, and he went out super early. So I'll take a lot of risk in my GPP. Just because it's more effective. I'll lose probably more often than I'll win, but when I win, it's more than anything I've ever lost. Literally, way more.
And then I'm kind of the same way. I play more 20 max and then a lot of a lot of double ups is where I try to cover my money at in there. But in outside of DraftKings, it's prize picks and then here in Texas we can play DraftKings pick 6. So that's where I've been covering my ass lately because it's easier to pick those props, and the props are a little bit different than prize picks. So I could play off of both of them, right? And then you get those promos where if you get so much in you get the protected ones over in prize picks, and then in DraftKings pick 6, you get like it'll give you like a booster. So like this weekend, my winnings went up 30%. So like if I won $200, I get 30% on added on to that when I hit my boost. So I like playing those proptimizer type games too. But DraftKings is that's where we live. So
It's easier to make money there, man. If you stay in $5 and under tournaments, the pros can't play in them. They don't have access to them. So you have an advantage when you do research like this over a majority of the crowd. And if you're paying for optimizers and things like that, it's actually beneficial.
I've heard that a lot though, addicts. I've heard a lot of people kind of phased out of DFS for a while. They went straight heavy, like season long. But I'm like,
Sports
I feel
betting.
like, and then sports betting, yeah, it's a thing. But like in states like Texas, where you think that betting would be legal because we tote guns wide open and ride horses down the
Florida.
middle of the street, and there's a bar on every corner, and you're born with a beer in your hand, like you'd be able to do that. But no, that we can't sports bet here. So the next
Florida
best thing-
just got it through the Hard Rock. So as soon as they got it, fucking addict on there, man. Just sports betting everything. Like I was telling them earlier in here, I don't know if you were in here, but I mean, I wasn't close to hitting the 3-person $100,000-something parlay when you pick 3 people to get the first touchdown, but I was close, if that makes sense. You know, I had one guy right, and the other 2 guys should have been the scorers. Actually, one of them was the scorer, but he came after a defensive touchdown, so he wasn't the first. And the other one was James Conner on the fucking 2-yard line, and instead of handing it to him 2 times in a row, they throw it to Marvin Harrison on second down. On second and goal, I couldn't believe it. But it is what it is, but I'm going to be fucking placing that kind of bet every week till I'm broke.
I think it's just gonna be how it is, man. It's just good that we don't really, and I was talking about, I was saying I just looked on Roto Grinders. They don't offer a way to find the FanDuel winner either. It's just DraftKings. I'm looking at it right now. So I need someone that actually plays in it to tell me what it is, because
I
obviously
used to use Roto to find it, but I was also logged into a friend of mine paid for Roto, so it might be hidden behind their paywall.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it right now on their content dashboard, and it just shows the Millie winner, just like actual DraftKings does, but it shows the actual Millie winner because I'm looking at their lineup breakdown and
I'll
everything.
see if my boy Nance can get it, because that's who I was using and we would see it all the time.
Yeah.
Roto also ranks DFS players if you're a member of Roto. So they rank, the pros. You'll see majority of the pros like Empire Maker and Awesemo and them all over there.
Don't be our old boy that we know and be embezzling.
Yeah, Parlay Picker was.
Don't be that guy.
Of ours.
Don't be that guy. He wasn't a friend. He was an acquaintance. He was not a friend. I don't know.
And look, I can't lie. My man taught me a lot of DFS, and he was also robbing the Jaguars at the same time.
God.
So he is currently behind bars.
72 months, and $20 million in debt.
Yep.
So, but anyways, y'all. Well, I appreciate y'all
hanging
out. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Thanks, Addicts, for hanging out. Scorpio.
Best of luck tomorrow. See y'all on Saturday.
And let us know how it goes. All right. All right. We will talk to y'all later.